Just because something isn't in our present form in this moment doesn't mean that we can't co-create that reality by being in the thought and the feeling of what it is that we want to create in our life.
Gabrielle Bernstein, a role model for spiritual seekers.
The think it to feel it method. The think it to feel it method lets you borrow a moment of happiness that you're able to identify and apply to a situation that you're otherwise struggling in. So when you have an issue, in the example I give in the book is about how I often felt like I was out of control. And this is a topic I've talked about a lot. And I'm so happy to say that I'm in recovery from this. But I often would fear the part of me that felt out of control. And so I would try to control things. And I felt anxious often. And that anxiety was something I really wanted to live without. But I didn't have a benchmark for what it was like to live without anxiety because I'd never known that. I'd lived with an anxiety disorder my whole life that was undiagnosed. And so because I didn't understand that, I did identify it in another person. A very close friend of mine, her name is Dr. Elisa Hallerman. She's been on my IG Live. She'll be on Dear Gabby. She's one of my best friends. Is a really relaxed person. Her job is she's an interventionist, a drug and alcohol counselor. She works with people in extreme situations when they're getting into treatment, and she helps people get into treatment. And she does much more than that, but I wanted to help you understand how heightened a job she has, how much anxiety there could be around that job. But she's always so chill. She's just like, okay, you need to get on the plane now and keep drinking until you get off the plane. Like whatever it is that she needs to deal with, she's just so mellow. And I always wanted that for myself, but I didn't have a point of reference of what that could be for me. But I had her. So even though I couldn't identify the area of my life that was free of anxiety yet, I had a sense of what it felt like when I was around Elisa. So I would meditate on that feeling. I would ask myself at times, what would Elisa do? I would just really give myself permission to believe and dream about what that could feel like. I'd affirm how I wanted to feel. The affirmation was, everything is happening around me. I'm truly taken care of. That was my affirmation. And I kept leaning into that feeling, and I would borrow the feeling from my experience of her, even though it wasn't something I fully experienced yet in my own life. But I could feel into it. And thinking about it allowed me to feel it, and then the feeling it allowed me to transform my own ability to assume that energy. And so the more I practiced thinking and feeling into what it was like to be around Elisa, the more comfortable I became in that state of peace. And the more I sent a message to the universe, yeah, I want to feel ease. I want to be free of anxiety. Then, therefore, the more support systems that I needed were guided into my life. The more conscious awareness was present for me to make that commitment. And one day at a time, I continued to dismantle that anxiety and get to where I am today, which is where I can say to you with all of my heart, everything is happening around me and I am truly taken care of. And here I am, free of anxiety. My team could tell you that when the SHIT hits the fan, I'm usually, maybe I have a first responder that's like a protector part that's like, what are we going to do? But then pretty quickly I get to a place of, okay, let's find the solution. What's the plan? Here we go. So I'm really proud to share that with you. The method really, I want you to really think about an area of your life where you have some spiritual proof. It could have been, maybe you want to attract romance into your life, and the last time you had real romance was when you were 16. Think about that time when you were 16 and allow your mind to wander. Go into that envisioning space of visualizing yourself in that relationship. Even today, I was just feeling quite disconnected from my close friends. My best friend, one of my soulmates in this lifetime, is my friend Michaela Ezra, who's designed all of our decks. And she is a soulmate. You can have many soulmates, and they don't have to always be romantic. And I was missing her and missing connection. And I just was listening to some music in the car. And it was a love song, but I just kept thinking about like Michaela and I and this trip that we took to the Hamptons one time when we were totally broke and we slept in the back of my car, and we woke up in the morning when I went to an AA meeting, and it was like this ridiculous weekend of just swimming on the beach and just finding random places to go shower. And it brought me into such an energy of feeling that connection. So even if I can't physically be with her and she's across the world in Australia, I can still feel into that relationship. So you think it to feel it. And as you feel it, you start to cultivate that energy. And so just because something isn't in our present form in this moment doesn't mean that we can't co-create that reality by being in the thought and the feeling of what it is that we want to create in our life. So that's the think it to feel it method. It's in chapter 2 of Super Attractor. It's a beautiful way to live. If you like this video and you want to get more Gabby, check out the next one right over here.